Hello there, this is James S. Crawford, years 1978. Last night I actually stayed up to watch the second and final US presidential debate in its entirety. Why yes, that was a cry for help, thank you for noticing. And although we could all spend the rest of our lives dissecting and debunking every grotesquely false, stupid, absurd, insane, outrageous, and downright criminal thing that spewed forth from Trump's rented face socket, the one thing that was a prime example of an issue that I've been meaning to talk about for years now here on YouTube is that when Biden explained that no, he's not going to ban, shut down, or otherwise kill the fracking and oil industries because he's concerned about both climate change and jobs and wants to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energies, investing in those industries and technologies instead of subsidizing big oil to the tune of tens of billions of dollars every single year, retraining workers and everything else that the word transition means in this context, Trump acted as if Biden had just announced that he was going to stab every American child's puppy to death on Christmas morning. Aha! Did you hear that, Pennsylvania? Did you hear that, Texas? Hear what? Who could possibly have listened to what Biden actually said and hear, I'm going to shut down your industries and leave your children to starve? The same people who, when we say defund the police, hear abolish all police forces and make crime legal. The same people who, when we say decriminalise narcotics and sex work, hear allow pimps and pushers to operate freely, including in school playgrounds. The same people here in Britain who, when they heard Jeremy Corbyn say that he wanted to abolish food banks, voted Tory because what am I and my children going to eat if he does that? We need food banks to survive. Because as I've learned from my own bitter trial by fire here on YouTube, the instinctive human compulsion to categorise everything as either safe or dangerous, edible or poisonous, friend or foe, means that far too often when dealing with large abstract social concepts such as the law, government policy, morality and human rights, we still think entirely in terms of good or bad, prohibition or free reign. Either you're receiving something or it's being taken from you. Indeed, the key reason why people are so genuinely terrified of the Green New Deal and other environmental proposals is that this black and white mindset means they can only conceive of it in terms of the government banning, confiscating and shutting down, leaving us all with less. Which is why it's so vital that Joe Biden has put the focus on the economic benefits of his proposals, upon the millions of stable, permanent and well-paying jobs that going green will create. So although we could all just shake our heads and call these people idiots, because it's true, we don't change their minds or change the world by telling people who believe this bullshit that they are simply stupid. Instead, we must always bear in mind that many people do genuinely perceive the world this way and thus shape our messages accordingly, saying, for example, that we want to create a world in which food banks shut down by themselves because no one wants or needs them anymore, just as Joe Biden said about fracking and oil. And speaking of persuading people, since this will probably be my final chance to say this before Election Day, even if you've already voted blue up and down ballot in black pen, making sure to use both envelopes and all of that good stuff, your job still isn't done because you can still volunteer to help get out the vote through votesaveamerica.com. After all, there are still millions of people out there who don't think that their vote will count or are otherwise apathetic about voting, when we need to not merely beat Trump and his Republican enablers on Election Day, but utterly annihilate them in a blue tsunami that will make any attempts to steal the election as pitiful a joke as Trump is himself. Millions of people who haven't made a plan to vote, which you can also do through the same website, links down as the underbar, who need to be reminded to drop off or mail in their absentee ballots, or need someone to do it for them, someone to babysit or cover their shift while they stand in line to vote, someone to drive them to the polling station. And even if you don't know anyone in real life, live abroad and are a total cyber hermit like me, you can still sign up to send postcards to voters at the other link listed down as your underbar, because remember, Hillary only lost because 10 million people who voted for Obama in 2012 simply didn't vote at all in 2016. That's it. That is literally the only reason why we're in this mess, and voting blue is the solution.